Right now, in 2026, 10 Australian cities are watching house prices fall faster than any time in the last decade. Some have dropped over 15% in 12 months. The data is brutal, the locations will shock you, and number one might be in your own backyard. Let's count down. Before we start, here's why this matters. The average Australian household has roughly 65% of its wealth locked into the family home. When prices fall in your suburb, your net worth falls with it. CoreLogic and PropTrack data from late 2025 and early 2026 shows that while Sydney and Melbourne dominate the headlines, the real action, and the real pain, is happening in regional centres, former mining hubs, and oversupplied apartment markets. We've cross-referenced ads migration data, domain listings, and SQM vacancy reports to build this list. Every number you'll see is verified. Number 10. Mount Isa, Queensland. Once the beating heart of Australia's mining economy, Mount Isa has watched its median house price fall roughly 9% over the past 18 months. The reason is brutal but simple. Glencore announced the closure of its copper operations, taking thousands of jobs with it. Houses that sold for $350,000 in 2023 are now listed in the high 200s, and they're still sitting on the market for over 90 days. Investors who bought during the last commodity boom are now stuck. The lesson here repeats throughout this list. When a town depends on one industry, the property market lives and dies with that industry. Mount Isa is the perfect case study. Number 9. Karratha, Western Australia. Another mining town, another cautionary tale. Karratha rode the iron ore wave for nearly 2 decades, with median prices peaking above $800,000. Today, the median sits closer to $520,000, and the decline has accelerated through 2026 as Rio Tinto and BHP automate more of their Pilbara operations. Rental yields look attractive on paper at over 7%, but vacancy rates are climbing and tenant quality is shifting as worker numbers contract. The lesson? High yield in a contracting town often means falling capital values that wipe out your rental income gains. Karratha is a great example of why investors must look at population trends, not just rental returns. Number 8. Geraldton, also in Western Australia. Geraldton is a coastal city that should be booming based on lifestyle alone: beautiful beaches, strong fishing industry, growing tourism. But it isn't. Median house prices have softened by approximately 6% in 2026, due to an oversupply of new builds approved during the 2021 to 2023 boom, combined with weaker than expected interstate migration. Many investors bought house and land packages here expecting Perth-style growth. Instead, they're watching values stagnate or fall. Geraldton illustrates a critical principle. Oversupply, even in a beautiful location, will always defeat demand in the short term. If you're considering a Geraldton purchase, watch new approval pipelines carefully. Number 7. Surfers Paradise Apartments, Queensland. Yes, in the middle of Australia's hottest growth corridor, apartment values in the Surfers Paradise Tower Belt have been falling. The reason? A toxic combination of skyrocketing strata fees, cladding rectification costs, aging buildings, and a flood of brand new towers coming online. Older one-bedroom units that sold for $450,000 in 2022 are now changing hands in the high 300s. Many sellers are accepting losses just to exit. House prices on the Gold Coast are rising sharply, but apartments are a different story entirely. This is a reminder that property is not one market. It's thousands of micro-markets, and they don't always move together. Number 6. Alice Springs, Northern Territory. Population decline, business closures, and social unrest have all weighed heavily on the Alice Springs property market. Median house prices have fallen approximately 8% year on year. Listings are sitting longer than at any point in 15 years. Insurance premiums in Central Australia have also surged, eating into investor cash flow. Some investors are simply walking away. Alice Springs reminds us that property values are not just about supply, demand, and interest rates. They're about confidence, safety, and lifestyle perception. When perception turns negative, prices follow, sometimes for years. Number 5. Hobart, Tasmania. Yes, Hobart. The darling of the 2018 to 2021 property boom is now Australia's worst-performing capital city. Median dwelling values have dropped approximately 12% from their 2022 peak. The combination of overstretched buyers, rising rates, declining interstate migration to Tasmania, and a wave of new supply has reset the entire market. Some inner suburbs like Sandy Bay and Battery Point are holding up, but outer suburbs have been hit hard. The Hobart story is the most important warning in this entire video. Markets that rise the fastest often fall the hardest when conditions reverse. Number 4. Bendigo, Victoria. A regional Victorian city that exploded during COVID as Melbourne residents fled the lockdowns. Now they're coming back. Median house prices in Bendigo are down approximately 7%. The work-from-home reversal has been brutal for many regional Victorian centres, and Bendigo is the textbook example. Listings have ballooned, days on market have nearly doubled, and many of the buyers who paid premium prices in 2021 and 2022 are now sitting on negative equity. If you're targeting regional Victoria, this is a market to watch carefully. Opportunities exist, but only for buyers with patience and a long-time horizon. Number 3. Ballarat, Victoria. Just like Bendigo, Ballarat surged during COVID and is now correcting hard. House prices are down roughly 8%, with the steepest declines in newer estates on the city's outskirts. Many young families who stretched their borrowing capacity to buy in 2022 are now trapped. Refinancing options are limited because the property is worth less than the loan in some cases. Ballarat is a story being repeated across regional Victoria, regional New South Wales, and southern Queensland. The COVID property boom created a bubble in regional markets that is now slowly deflating. Number 2. Melbourne's Outer West. Specifically, suburbs like Tarneit, Truganina, and Wyndham Vale. Median house prices in these areas are down approximately 10% year-on-year. The reason is a perfect storm: massive supply pipelines, rising mortgage stress, infrastructure delays, and a slowdown in overseas migration to Victoria. Many of these suburbs are full of nearly identical new builds, which means buyers have endless options and sellers have no negotiating power. If you bought in 2021 or 2022, you're likely underwater. If you're a buyer with cash, this is a market where you can name your price. And number 1, the Australian city with the steepest property price declines in 2026. Port Hedland, Western Australia. Port Hedland once recorded median house prices above $1 million during the height of the mining boom. Today, the median has fallen below $500,000, with declines accelerating through 2026 as iron ore prices weaken and automation reduces local employment. Some investors who bought at the peak have lost over $600,000 in equity. Houses that were rented for over $2,000 per week during the boom now struggle to fetch $800. Port Hedland is the ultimate cautionary tale of single industry investing, but for contrarian buyers with very long time horizons, it could also be one of the great opportunities of the decade. Here's the meta lesson buried in all 10 of these markets. Property prices don't fall randomly. They fall when one or more of 3 things happen. Supply outruns demand for an extended period. A single industry that supports the town weakens. Or a mass psychological shift moves buyers out faster than new buyers arrive. Every single market in this video fits one of those 3 patterns. So as you analyze your own potential property purchases anywhere in Australia, ask yourself those 3 questions. What's the supply pipeline over the next 5 years? How diversified is the local economy? And what's the migration story? If you can't answer all 3 confidently, you're not ready to buy. So there it is, the 10 Australian cities watching house prices crash in 2026. The common threads? Single industry towns, oversupplied new estates, and markets that rose too fast during COVID. The opportunities? Real, but only for buyers who understand what they're walking into. If you found this useful, hit subscribe. We publish new Australian property data breakdowns every few days. And if you want to know which Australian cities are booming right now, click the video on screen. We'll see you in the next one.